Review for Escape from Alcatraz, 1979, Clint Eastwood, directed by Don Siegel. So this is a movie I've seen a couple times before. I've always liked this movie. You know, Clint Eastwood, obviously, great actor, knows what he's doing, great director, producer, writer maybe too. I don't think he writes most of his movies, but he's written a couple, I think. He's just so entertaining. In this movie, he doesn't take anything from anyone. He knows that this is prison. He can't give an inch, or they take a mile, as they say. He came from Georgia, I believe, where he was trying to escape, and then they sent him to Alcatraz. When he gets there, he gets kind of introduced to the grounds. Patrick McGoohan, I'm mispronouncing that probably, is the warden. And halfway through the movie, I'm like, wait, is that the King Longshanks in Braveheart? And it is. Really good actor. Fred Ward's in this. Great cast. So he gets there. He gets put into to distribute books, because I think they learn he can read and write. He's got a brain, and he's a smart guy. So he distributes the books. He works in the library with this guy who was in basically solitary confinement. He cut his own Achilles tendon to get out of it. And I don't know if this is accurate, but I think it is. This is based on a true story. Obviously, they say no one's escaped from Alcatraz. Well, these three guys tried. And but they had solitary confinement where they would throw them in a box, and like a very small room. You could stand up and everything, but there's no sunlight, so I don't think they can do that anymore. Which is good. Like, we don't have to treat our prisoners in jail that bad. I don't know, but that's a whole other subject. But that would seem to me to violate the Constitution. No cruel and unusual punishment. That kind of seems like it to me. But anyways, so he was in there, and he got out because he did that, and now he has a limp, but he works in the library, which is probably one of the best jobs you would want. He distributes books and magazines, and this one guy gets his attention, or Clint Eastwood gets his attention, let's just say, and he attacks him. Clint Eastwood beats him up, but now there's a grudge this guy has for Clint Eastwood till the end of the movie. So that's a problem for him. Two of his friends, Jack Thibeau and Fred Ward, come like a little bit later into the movie, and he knew them from Georgia. They kept trying to escape from Georgia, and they get there, and almost right away when they get there, he starts talking to them. He's like, "Hey, I think we can escape." Larry Hankin plays Charlie Butts, who is his next door neighbor. Every cell is just one person, and he gets word that his mother is really sick, and he has a wife. So he kind of whispers to him next to his cell, "Hey, I want to get out of here too. If you're planning anything, let me know. I'm going." So he starts to plan it, and does a great job. He notices that the concrete in his cell is kind of weak, and that he earlier when he was in the warden's office, the warden had a couple nail clippers. He was able to snatch one without him noticing. So he starts using that to kind of pick away at the concrete for this vent in his cell. He does that, but it has no grip, so it's kind of messing up his hand. So then he's able to get a spoon from the kitchen, and he breaks off the end, and then he's able to figure out, with the help of the guy who's in the library, how to melt them together. So he does that, so he's able to pick at the wall easier. And he figures he can get this vent off, which then leads above them, and that leads to the roof, and then they can go over the fence, and then they can get in the water. He's able to figure out that he can make like a floating life raft with, I think, raincoats and liquid cement. He said he read it in Popular Mechanics, because that was a thing. You won't be able to swim because the current's so strong, you'll get so tired. But he thinks he can figure that out, so that would help them swim, so they wouldn't get so tired. So yeah, he's going through all of these steps he needs. They build papier-mâché heads. One guy works in the barber shop. He's able to get hair, so they could put hair on the top of it, so they could make fake heads to put on their pillow. So when the guards walk by, they'll think that they're sleeping. Because he figures, okay, we'll leave right when lights out. We'll put the heads on there, and then we'll tunnel our way under, and that will all be done. And then we'll go to the top, and they won't notice until the morning. So that will give us, like, I think he's like a 6-hour head start, 7-hour head start. Yeah, and they do that. They're able to cover the hole that they create with a papier-mâché thing that they put over the vent, and then they're painting it, because they're also able to get painting supplies, because they're saying that he's becoming a painter. And it's really sad. There's this other painter who, that's like his whole thing, reason for living is to paint and draw people. And then, but he does something not very smart. He paints a picture of the warden, and he looks a little goofy. Although I didn't think he looked that bad, but he looks a little goofy or crazy, kind of. And that guy that plays him, I was like, oh man, that's the guy that's in Home Alone 1. He's the old man in Home Alone 1 that kind of creeps out Kevin, and then, later they become friends and stuff. Really good actor, but spoilers. I mean, the movie's pretty old. He does that, and then the warden's kind of looking through different cells, and he sees that painting, so he takes away his painting privileges permanently. Not suspended, but permanently. And even the guards are like, oh man, do you really have to do that? And then he's like, I'm the warden, do it. And one of the guards even apologizes to the guy, and he's like, sorry, man. And yeah, and then the guy, he's in the wood shop, and he gets some of his fingers cut off, and yeah, it's really sad. I wonder if that part's true, but really good actor. He's been in some other stuff too. So and then the night comes.
She's almost done.
And they're gonna leave. And the warden kind of starts to think that he's up to something. He doesn't know what. He can't put his finger on it. But the guard says him and Charlie Butts are always talking to each other, whispering to each other. So he says, "Okay, break them up, move them to opposite ends of the prison." And they're gonna do that, but the day they're gonna do that, they leave the night before. So, but yeah, and then he leaves, and the other two guys leave, and Charlie Butts isn't gonna leave, but he just doesn't have the will to do it. He's like crying in his cell. I mean, I'm like, you might as well go though, because they're gonna find the papier-mâché head. They're gonna find that he already tunneled away at the wall, at the vent. So they're gonna find that, because when they're all gone, they're gonna toss all the cells the next day. But he waits. They wait for him, but they can't wait any longer. They leave. He tries to go up, but you kind of need help getting into the like a jump to get to this next part, and he can't do it. And yeah, so then he goes back to his cell, which is pretty sad. But I don't know. I think that actually happened, and yeah, and then they leave, and it's kind of ambiguous if they survive or not. But there's kind of a hint that they survive. But good movie. It's directed by Don Siegel. He's done a lot of stuff. This is one of his last movies. After this, he did Rough Cut and Jinx, which I haven't seen. He did the first Dirty Harry. So that's him working with Eastwood. Coogan's Bluff, which I've heard of. The Shootist. Oh, okay. That's John Wayne. That's interesting. Okay. I think that's John Wayne's last movie. I think he was like dying of cancer when he was filming that. Actually sounds like an interesting movie. Maybe I should check that out. Just the plot and stuff of that movie. But he's done a lot of stuff. I mean, his career goes back to the 40s. So, good director, solid director, knows what he's doing. And it's a pretty enjoyable movie. I don't think it's like amazing or anything, but it's pretty good. It tells its story well. That's kind of how I think of Clint Eastwood as a director. Tells its story very well. Solid. Nothing too flashy, but tells the narrative well. The characters are well developed. So yeah. Actually, some of Siegel's direction kind of reminds me of Eastwood's, which makes sense because they did a couple movies together. They're probably friends, and Eastwood probably admired his skill. So, but yeah, Alcatraz, and then trivia: Alcatraz was one of the few prisons at the time to have hot water for showers. This wasn't a compassionate decision. It was intended to keep the prisoners from becoming too used to cold water in case they did get out of prison and try to swim off the island. I don't know if that's true, but I probably still want warm showers. Oh, whoa, Danny Glover's in this? Theatrical movie debut of Danny Glover as one of the prison inmates. He's the inmate that Frank first encounters when delivering books. I didn't even notice that. One of the most popular questions Alcatraz prison tour guides get since the movie was shot there was which one was Clint Eastwood's cell. Oh, that's interesting. It's actually shot there. Don Siegel had previously visited Alcatraz when it was operational. Oh, in order to do research for his movie Riot in Cell Block 11. But yeah, overall, good movie, solid movie. Check it out. 1979. Don Siegel. The great Clint Eastwood. So, But yeah, that's about it. If you enjoyed the review, please like, comment, subscribe. Really helps with the algorithm. But yeah, that's it. And see you next time.